So happy Tuesday. It's July 20th. It's going to be another warm day, but like I said, somebody told me that we're in for a chance of rain, so that's exciting. Let's hope that happens. In the meantime, let's continue to fill up our toolbox and work on ourselves. We'll start off with our daily pledge. Today is a new day. I'm ready to be the best me I can be. I will listen so I can learn. I will try hard so my brain can grow. I will not give up. I can learn anything I put my mind to. It's a new day, a new opportunity, a new week. We just talked about this yesterday. It's a good way for us to start fresh, brush off any negativity, and showing up for ourselves every day. Yesterday, your challenge was to show up for yourself. No matter if you didn't felt like it or not, if you were having a bad day or not, we were going to show up for ourselves. And we were going to do that day in and day out so that we can work on our mental health and be responsible. Every day, showing up for yourself is doing a little check-in. How are you feeling on a scale of 1 to 10? Are you feeling really great? Are you feeling really poor? Are you somewhere in between? What does that look like? Showing up for yourself is doing a little self-assessment. Where am I at? What tools do I need? How are things going? The next one is, have I been eating? Have I been sleeping? Have I showered? Have I talked to somebody? Have I left the house? Have I got fresh air? So not only is this is like a 2-step process now. We're going to do a little check-in. Are you good or are you bad? And if you're not feeling well, what's going on? What have you not been doing for yourself? Have you not been showing up for yourself? Have you been struggling to get out of bed? Have you been struggling to get your meals in? Where are you at? And why are you feeling this way? And we need to do that every single day. It's important to make sure it doesn't have to take long. It takes like 2 seconds. Okay, I don't feel very good today. What is going on? I need to get out of the house today. See, 2 seconds. It took me to understand maybe a little scan of how I'm feeling and what I need to do about that. Remember, part of that, all of that is part of being responsible. We had to take care of ourselves. We have to show up for ourselves. And that is why, again, we're going to talk about Tips and Tools Tuesday. More tricks to put in your back pocket to manage your mental health. Time and time again, I've said, we have a toolbox at home full of multiple different tools for multiple different things. And the same thing goes for our mental health. Our mental health is never the same. It's always changing. And if you have a tool for depression, that tool may not work for your anxiety. And so we need to keep filling up our box. You can never have enough information. One of the things that I kind of found that I don't know if we've ever really talked about this or necessarily kind of went through some of these questions. However, sometimes it's just interesting to ask yourself a little bit about your mental health. What does that look like? One of the biggest things that I think is important about mental health is educating yourself. Now, we've kind of went through a little rundown of some of the diagnoses, and we could go back over that again because I think it's important. But describe your mental health. Where are you at currently? If you aren't happy with things, what would you change about it? And so what is your diagnosis? What do you know about your diagnosis and yourself and how that works together? What is it about it that you would like to change right now? Write these things down. It kind of gives you like a starting point, a foundation. When we talk about coping skills and we talk about showing up for ourselves and being responsible, look at your mental health. Where are you at? Part of journaling and stuff like that, I think I've mentioned this a few times, is that you can at least start to see if you cycle. Many folks, when they're struggling with their mental health, it may go up and down and up and down. For instance, if you are, anxious for a couple of months and then you kind of feel depressed for a couple of months, whatever it may be, by journaling and documenting these things, you can start to know if there's a pattern or a cycle. So you can learn that about yourself. And just kind of come to understand what you need, what a game plan should be, how to proceed as those times. Now, it's not something to ruminate about. It's just good to understand and kind of educate yourself about that. So understanding your mental health, where are you at? The next one is, how does your mental health impact your daily life? What is it about your mental health that maybe affects how you do things on a day-to-day basis? Those are the things that we want to take a look at. Those are the things that we want to modify. You can do that with your arms worker, your case manager, anybody in your family or a friend. But what is it about your mental health that impacts your daily life? Maybe you cannot physically leave the house at all. Those are the things that we need to talk about. These are the things that we need tips and tools and tricks for, because those are the areas that need improvement. And they may not improve overnight. And it may be a long, kind of a long uphill battle. However, it's possible. It's just that we need to identify those things. How do you cope with mental health difficulties? Describe how you cope with things. How do you cope with stress? So again, these are just some questions that I found about what is your mental health? What do you want to change about it? How does it impact your day? Maybe you've never asked these questions of yourself, and so you're not quite sure how it impacts your day-to-day basis. Maybe you think that things are going really great, and that's awesome. But maybe when you stop and think about it, you start to realize there's definitely some areas of improvement that can be made. What parts of your mental health journey are you proud of? What parts of managing your mental health and getting on track are you proud of? Are you proud of the fact that you've stayed out of the hospital now for 6 months to a year? Maybe it's been 10 years. Are you proud of the fact that you've maintained medication compliance, you have minimal symptoms, and you're just living a really good, happy lifestyle? What is it about your journey that you're proud of? What parts of your mental health journey do you feel still need growth? So these are just some things. I thought they were good questions, and I want you to kind of think about those things. Answer those questions to yourself. Journal about it, write it down. Maybe even don't journal. Maybe just do like a little brainstorming thing. But it's good to know, like, do I know everything about my mental health? Do I need to educate myself more? What is it about that controls me sometimes, that I don't want anymore, that I want to work on? And that's kind of where you start to work on the goals and your tips and your tricks and all of the things that we kind of are continually doing to improve ourselves. One of the things that I wanted to back up to was grounding. Now, I don't know if any of you are a worrywart. Maybe you experience generalized anxiety, or we've talked about that before. Generalized anxiety is where you're really just anxious all of the time, or most of the time. There's not really any particular reason why. Sometimes we can't explain it. And so when you feel that way, it's very uncomfortable, and we're always trying to find ways to reduce that, to ground ourselves, to help us breathe better, think better. And so if you're a worrywart, or you have generalized anxiety, and maybe you're constantly stressing, maybe you're overwhelmed, whatever it may be, grounding techniques are supposed to help us stay present in the here and now. They say grounding is the use of techniques which can help you calm your nervous system and to help connect to the here and now. Grounding helps us connect to our 5 senses when we feel things might be getting out of control. When our symptoms get ramped up, or when we're feeling overwhelmed, or we're feeling like the volcano is going to overflow, we need grounding techniques to just like bring us back to earth, help us calm down, bring our brain back into one piece, settle the lava, so to speak. But whatever it is, it's going to help us be able to breathe, relax, de-stress, calm our mind, and be able to proceed from there. So you use grounding techniques when you notice you're beginning to disassociate, when you're kind of checking out. When you feel yourself separating from the rest of the world, we need grounding techniques. When you have triggers that are present, when you're experiencing a lot of bad thoughts, negativity, memories, you just feel like you can't possibly do one more thing, and you're overwhelmed, and you're just kind of starting to feel like you're ready to check out and shut down. That's when we need to start using grounding techniques. Grounding exercises can help you focus your attention on the present moment. These are exercises that are also helpful during panic, impulsive urges, flashbacks, emotional distress, disassociation, burnout, the whole 9 yards. When we need something to just kind of rein us back in, grounding techniques are helpful. And I would guess many of us do this on a daily basis without even recognizing that we've done that. That's the kind of the funny thing about coping skills, is a lot of times we do things that we don't even recognize as a way to cope, but we've never put a name on it. We've never did a coping skill. We've never talked about grounding techniques, and so a lot of times we're already doing things to self-soothe, not even really being able to recognize that that's what we're doing. And so sometimes if we talk about it, you can say, I already do that. I've done that for a long time. And so now you know that you have coping skills. But they talk about visually grounding exercises. So a visual grounding exercise is relying on your sight to ground you to the present moment, where you stop and you breathe and you take a minute and you assess everything around you, paying attention to the birds, the trees, the sky, the houses around you, whatever it may be. To conduct a visual grounding exercise, you can start mentally to catalog the things you see around you. Little things, they say, even like electrical outlets, and if things are crooked, and if they're straight, and their colors and their patterns, and visually how that makes you feel. And so that's just sitting down or just stop. You know, the benefit of grounding techniques is you can do this in the middle of Walmart. Nobody even needs to know what you're doing. They might just think you're looking around, kind of looking, maybe you're lost. So the benefit of grounding techniques is these can be used out in public, anywhere, doctor's offices, school, wherever you're at. You can use these and nobody knows what you're doing. So these are beneficial. They say tactile grounding exercises. A tactile grounding exercise can be done by holding an ice cube in your hand, taking a cold shower, snapping a rubber band. It's kind of like that feel, okay? Many people find that discomfort helps them reconnect to the present moment. I've seen a lot of people use the rubber band snapping. It's kind of the same concept of like snapping you out of it. Cold ice. It just helps you bring it in quickly, I think, to where you're at the here and now. Other grounding techniques, we talk about sound, listening to music, calling somebody. Maybe there's somebody in your life that you love to hear their voice. It makes you feel warm inside. It warms your heart up. It's comforting. Call that person, talk to them. That's a grounding technique. See, you most likely do that already now, just assuming that you need to talk to them, you need their support, but in all reality, chances are you're calling them because you want to hear their voice. It calms you, it relaxes you, you feel supported by them. Putting on sound machines, we have sound machines around here, and reading out loud, whatever it is that sounds visually appealing to you and comforts you, that's a grounding technique. Touch, again, showering, lotion. Maybe you massage your hand. That's a touch. Sometimes that soft blankets. Maybe you have a texture thing, and so you have like a weighted blanket. Weighted blankets are super impactful. I hear many folks say good things about them. I actually have one for my daughter at home. It's a smaller version. She lays it on her legs. It just helps her kind of calm and relax when she's wound up. And so those are things that we can look for online. Sometimes they have sales on them. Sometimes they're kind of expensive, but a weighted blanket is beneficial. Smells, essential oils, light and like scented candles, any sort of smells. Maybe it's lotions or perfumes. Maybe it's just the fresh air. Maybe it's nature. Whatever it is, that's a grounding technique. Taste, putting in gum. Maybe you have spicy food, sugary food, hopefully not a lot of food. Just letting things melt in your mouth, taking in all of that. And then, of course, we just talked about sight. So remember, everything works differently. And what grounding technique might work for you today might not work tomorrow. Based on how you feel, you have to kind of gauge where you're at and what that looks like for you, because it's always different. It's always changing, and it should, because not one tool works all the time or for everything. So anyways, grounding techniques, I'm kind of hoping that today maybe you can take a little look at that. Do some like body awareness. Scan yourself. How are you feeling? Ask yourself some of those questions. What about your mental health affects your day-to-day functioning? Your day-to-day living? What is it about your mental health? Do you need some grounding techniques? Maybe while you're out in the community today, you start to get anxious or you're feeling overwhelmed. Use your grounding techniques. Maybe you are just feeling a little out of sorts and a little funky and a little off today. We all get that way. Use your grounding techniques. Bring it in. Stay in the moment. Bring yourself kind of to that present so that you can focus and move forward for the day. So grounding techniques can be used for a whole lot of things. Get out one of your index cards. Write down some grounding techniques that work for you. Put it in your toolbox, and these should always be available for you on a day that you're just not feeling quite right. You can pull them out and say, I need to start work, focusing on my sights, my sounds, my tastes, my whatever it is. Grounding techniques. Again, like I said, I really think a lot of you do all of those things without even knowing it. A journal exercise that you can start doing for yourself is the 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. All right? 5 things you see, 4 things you hear, 3 things you feel, 2 things you smell, and 1 thing that you taste. And so I can give you get you a copy of this too, so you can start working on some journal exercises. The more you practice, the more you write, the more you read, the more you think, those things start to stick in here. That's why I like worksheets. That's why I like to talk about things repetitively, because the more we do, eventually our brain holds on to that information, and you go, that's right, I need to do that grounding technique. That's right, I need to do that journal exercise. That's right, I need to check in with myself, because it just kind of becomes more of an automatic thought. Remember, ants automatic, well, that's negative thoughts, but we want automatic positive thoughts. We'll call them amps. All right. Anyways, your goal for today, your challenge for today is just to assess yourself. Ask yourself some questions about your mental health. What do you want to change? And be mindful of your grounding techniques. Write it down. Start thinking about it. Use it. Apply it. And not one grounding technique works for every single thing that you do. So try to change it up and try to just write down as many ideas as you can think of. Drink lots of water. Eat your 3 meals a day. Make sure you're getting plenty of rest. Get outside for fresh air. And I'll see you tomorrow morning.